My neighbor thought he could use a loophole in the city's property lines to seize half my backyard and tear down a 100-year-old oak tree. He didn't realize that by claiming my land was actually his, he was also claiming $100,000 in legal liabilities he never saw coming. I bought my house 3 years ago, a quiet place on a half-acre lot. My neighbor Arthur is a retired developer who treats the entire neighborhood like his personal construction site. 6 months ago, he decided he wanted to build a massive luxury ADU in his backyard to rent out on Airbnb. The only problem? His lot wasn't wide enough to meet the city's setback requirements. One Monday morning, I woke up to the sound of chainsaws. I ran outside to find a crew of men standing in my backyard, right next to the massive white oak that had been there since the early 1900s. Arthur was standing there with a smug grin, holding a new survey map. He claimed the previous owners had built the fence in the wrong spot and that 10 feet of my yard actually belonged to him. He told me the tree was coming down to make room for his foundation. I told him to stop, but he laughed and showed me a permit he'd secured using that fraudulent survey. He told me to call a lawyer if I had a problem. So I did, but I didn't just call a lawyer. I called a certified arborist and a state-licensed historical surveyor. The surveyor confirmed what I already knew. The fence was exactly where it belonged. Arthur had physically moved the iron property markers under the cover of night, a felony in our state. But the real nuclear option was the tree. In our jurisdiction, we have timber trespass laws. If you cut down a healthy, mature tree on someone else's property, you are liable for triple the value of the tree, plus the cost of removal and replanting. I didn't stop the crew. I let them cut the first branch. Then I walked out with my lawyer and a cease and desist order. My arborist had valued that specific oak tree at $45,000 due to its age, size, and the shade value it provided to the house. Since Arthur had ordered the cut on land that wasn't his, he was now staring at a potential $135,000 judgment. When the police arrived and saw the moved property markers, Arthur's face went from smug to ghostly pale. The city revoked his building permit on the spot for filing a fraudulent survey. But it got worse for him. Because he had cleared the underbrush on what he claimed was his land, he had inadvertently destroyed a protected drainage swale. The city fined him $20,000 for environmental violations. Then my lawsuit hit. My lawyer offered him a choice: pay me the full value of the damaged tree, and sign a legal easement that he would never touch the property line again, or go to trial for property fraud and timber trespass. He had to sell his expensive luxury materials at a massive loss just to pay my settlement. The foundation he started is now just a concrete hole in his yard that fills with rainwater every time it storms. Every morning I sit on my porch, drink my coffee, and look at my beautiful oak tree and the empty bankrupt lot next door. It turns out when you try to steal someone's ground, you end up burying yourself.